I'd intended to make some remarks about the problem of Social Security tonight, but the immediacy of congressional action on the tax program, a key component of our economic package, has to take priority. Now, the day after tomorrow, Wednesday, the House of Representatives will begin debate on 2 tax bills, and once again, they need to hear from you. I know that doesn't give you much time, but a great deal is at stake. A few days ago, I was visited here in the office by a Democratic congressman from one of our southern states. He'd been back in his district, and one day one of his constituents asked him where he stood on our economic recovery program. I'd outlined that program in an earlier broadcast, particularly the tax cut. Well, the congressman, who happens to be a strong leader in support of our program, replied at some length with a discussion of the technical points involved, but he also mentioned a few reservations he had on certain points. The constituent, a farmer, listened politely until he'd finished, and then he said, "Don't give me an essay. What I want to know is, are you for 'em or agin 'em?" Well, I appreciate the gentleman's support and suggest his question is a message your own representative should hear. Let me add, those representatives honestly and sincerely want to know your feelings. They get plenty of input from the special interest groups. They'd like to hear from their home folks. The committee bill offers a 15% cut over 2 years. Our bipartisan bill gives a 25% reduction over 3 years. Now, as you can see by this chart, there is the 22% tax increase. Their cut is below that line, but ours wipes out that increase and with a little to spare. And there it is, as you can see. The red column, that is the 15% tax cut, and it still leaves you with an increase. The green column is our bipartisan bill, which wipes out the tax increase and gives you an ongoing cut. Incidentally, their claim that cutting taxes for individuals for as much as 3 years ahead is risky rings a little hollow when you realize that their bill calls for business tax cuts each year for 7 years ahead. It rings even more hollow when you consider the fact the majority leadership routinely endorses federal spending bills that project years into the future, but objects to a tax bill that will return your money over a 3-year period. Now, here is another chart which illustrates what I said about their giving a better break if you only intend to live for 2 more years. Their tax cut, so-called, is the dotted line. Ours is the solid line. As you can see, in an earning bracket of $20,000, their tax cut is slightly more generous than ours for the first 2 years. Then, as you can see, their tax bill, the dotted line, starts going up and up and up. On the other hand, in our bipartisan tax bill, the solid line, our tax cut, keeps on going down and then stays down permanently. This is true of all earning brackets, not just the $20,000 level that I've used as an example, from the lowest to the highest. This red space between the 2 lines is the tax money that will remain in your pockets if our bill passes, and it's the amount that will leave your pockets if their tax bill is passed. I take no pleasure in saying this, but those who will seek to defeat our Connibal-Hance bipartisan bill as debate begins Wednesday are the ones who have given us 5 quote-unquote tax cuts in the last 10 years. But our taxes went up $400 billion in those same 10 years. The lines on these charts say a lot about who's really fighting for whom. On the one hand, you see a genuine and lasting commitment to the future of working Americans. On the other, just another empty promise.